purchase agreements not only have, a price that's agreed upon and a closing date that's agreed upon, today's purchase agreements may have multiple contingencies, meaning there may be certain things that have to happen before the contract is binding. Let's go ahead and take a look at how our agent takes this couple through a purchase agreement and explains the different types of contingencies that we see in a typical residential transaction.
I'm so glad you found this home to make an offer on. Let's get this purchase agreement written up.
We're excited also. We didn't think we'd find a home so soon.
Yeah, I love that house, and I really hope they accept our offer.
I want them to accept our offer too. I think we're really going to have a great case to do so. However, there are some parts of the agreement that exist to protect you, the buyers. Let me tell you about some of these contingencies.
Okay, but I am a little concerned that if there are too many contingencies, they might not accept our offer.
Sure. No, I understand that. Let me walk you through each one so you understand. It's always your decision whether or not you want to include them. However, it's standard and the sellers are most likely going to expect that.
Okay.
So the first is going to be the mortgage contingency, which means the sale depends on you securing financing. This protects your earnest money. If you, for some reason, cannot get a mortgage for the purchase of this property, you receive your earnest money back.
Well, that seems standard. I think we should include it.
Yeah, I think so, unless you think that there would be all cash offers or a lot of all cash offers on this.
Well, what we've seen typically in today's market, I'm not seeing a whole lot of the cash offers, but it can't be guaranteed. And the mortgage contingency will include the terms of the financing, so the interest rate, the maximum approval amount, and the length of the term. So it's not that you get approved for just any mortgage, it's the one that best suits your needs.
Okay, let's include that. I like the protection as a...
No, I agree. Okay, we'll need to have a separate discussion later about the financing and the mortgage terms, since this is your first time buying a home and that you aren't currently pre-qualified. So we'll have to discuss that later. But for now, let's move on to the next contingency, which is an inspection contingency. And I highly advise you include this.
So with this inspection, if something does turn up in our house, will we be able to back out?
Yeah, so the inspection means you have the property inspected and can cancel a contract in case a big problem occurs. So that may include things like pests, lead-based paint, sewage facilities, radon testing, mechanical systems, even other toxic material in that inspection.
Okay, what if they don't find anything big like that, but they find smaller issues?
Sure, that's actually very common. That's probably the norm. In this case, we would negotiate with the seller to an agreement on any needed work and the party responsible for paying for that work.
So I do like that the inspection covers us.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's definitely going to be beneficial. So we'll make sure to get that added. So now another common contingency is a property sale contingency. But this doesn't so much apply to you because you're not selling another property. So basically that could make your offer more attractive to the seller because they're not going to have to wait on any other contingency or any other property being sold. So
okay.
That'll be much more beneficial for you.
Okay, that makes me feel better about the mortgage contingency and the inspection contingency.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely. And I think we have a strong offer here. These contingencies are here to protect you.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now that we know what we're including, let's talk about timeframes. Okay. For the inspection, we typically say we'll have that done within 3 to 4 days. Okay. Within the offer is accepted. How do you feel about that?
Seems okay. Can we get it done in that time?
I think so. That should be a problem at all.
Okay, let's include 3 days then.
Okay, perfect. So if any needs to be resolved after the inspection then, we will include an addendum indicating who is responsible and in what the time frame the work must be done. Okay? So now for the mortgage contingency. We typically say between 30 and 60 days, depending on what your closing date will be. I understand that you guys would like to close on March 10th, so I think we can do about 45 days.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, great. Okay, well, we definitely have some more work to do, but we will get this offer completed and have it presented to the seller later today.
Okay.
Great.
Contingencies are a part of the real estate world. They're there to protect people. Now, in some marketplaces, you may be finding that cash offers with no contingencies are the only way somebody's going to be able to buy a home if it's that aggressive in that marketplace. In many areas, in fact, I would say most areas, you're going to find typical contingencies like our couple was using in their purchase agreement: a mortgage contingency, a home inspection contingency. These contingencies are there to protect people. Like our buyers, right, the couple that would buy, if for some reason they didn't qualify for the financing for that home, or really probably more specifically, if the home didn't qualify for the financing, because of the financing contingency, they wouldn't be required to buy the home. In fact, they'd probably receive all their earnest money back and they could move on to the next home. That's what a contingency does. It protects them during a period in which something has to be determined. Case in point, the home inspection contingency involved with this purchase agreement. Let's say there's a home inspection done on the property after the purchase agreement is agreed upon, and the home inspection contingency is in place, and they have a home inspector come in and they find a problem with the home. Well, generally, that contingency is there to protect the buyer. Let's say it's a massive problem with the foundation. The home is built on a sinkhole, and the inspector found this out. Well, clearly, with the home inspection contingency, the buyer could say, I don't want to buy that home. I don't want to be forced to buy that home, and I don't want to sacrifice any of the money, the earnest money I put into this. I want to be out. They could do that with the home inspection contingency. It's there to protect the buyer. One thing about contingencies, generally, the party who may be injured, the one who's being protected, may also continue to have the option, right? They may have the option to continue with the purchase agreement. Even though there was a problem, they made, you know what, we still want it anyhow. So let's say it's a home inspection. And it wasn't a sinkhole under the home, but let's say there was a beehive found in the attic space. And so really kind of a pest infestation. And they wanted that beehive removed, and they asked the sellers to remove the beehive. And the seller said, we're not going to remove the beehive. Well, the buyers at that point could say, well, we're going to walk. And we don't want to buy the home, because that's what the contingency allows for. Or the buyer could say, you know what, we love the home. We think it's at a fair price, and really we don't think it's going to take that much to get rid of the beehive in the attic. In fact, we know some people that can help us with that. We're going to go ahead and go through with the sale. That can happen too. So contingencies are all about understanding who's being protected and who has the option, right, to continue with the deal if they want to. Those are contingencies. We see them all the time in real estate, and you probably will too.